your trip, you should know that the unpaved roads of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve pass through rough and rugged terrain. You may experience bumps and sudden jolts on your safari adventure. To ensure a safe and pleasant trip, you should be in good health and free from high blood pressure, heart, back or neck problems, motion sickness, or other conditions that could be aggravated by this adventure. Expectant mothers should not ride. Once on board your safari transport, please remain seated with your hands, arms, feet and legs inside. And
Once you're seated, please watch hands and feet on the right. Those doors are going to slide shut.
Lie down, lie down.
We're going to ask that you remain completely seated at all times. If your whole party doesn't fit, it means your whole party's on the next truck. Make sure you're behind the yellow line on the dock. So like we said, stay seated. Do not lean outside of the truck. We're going to be going over some rough brush. Some of the bushes have some pretty long thorns. As we say here in Harambe Twende, which means let's go. So, Jumbo, everybody, hi. My name is Kristen. I'm going to be your safari guide for this journey out through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now, I noticed that some of you back there have some cameras. You can feel free to have cameras out and ready to try to take pictures. I recommend high-speed settings. There are some areas on the reserve where we are not allowed to stop. Even when we are allowed to stop, it's only going to be for just a few seconds. So an action or sport setting, something with a high shutter speed usually works the best.
Wearing 2 hats.
I also recommend that you hold on to those cameras and all of your personal belongings very tightly. We are not allowed to stop inside the reserve for anything that falls outside of the truck. That includes hats, sunglasses, cameras, cell phones, pretty much anything else you might still want at the end of the safari. Make sure you're holding on to it. It could be a while before we see any dropped item again, and most likely you will not be getting it back in the same condition that you last saw it in. Animals are curious. They're not as gentle with things as we are. Well, we're going to go get started heading deep into the Little Ituri Forest. Forests like this one are home to many different types of antelope. Their natural colorings and markings can blend them in really well, so we got to keep a sharp eye out. More than once I've been just a few yards away from an animal before we noticed it hiding in the bushes. Alrighty, you might see an animal in the bushes out to the right, up on top of the hill. That's an okapi. Okapi are often mistaken for relatives of the zebra because of the stripy legs. They're actually the only living relative of the giraffe. That's because of the shape of their heads. They have asagons, which are the false horns. They also have long black prehensile tongues, just like the giraffe do. You've probably noticed they're kind of reclusive animals. It means they're a little bit shy. They were not first discovered by the Western world until about 1901. It's pretty recent, relatively speaking. This brings us around to the local watering hole. It's a great gathering spot for many animals. Some of our best chances to find some of the rare animals out here. Up on the hill to the right, you might see some light tan antelope. Those are greater kudu. Kudu are the second tallest antelope in Africa. Boys stand about 5 feet tall at the shoulder. Girls, like these ones, a little bit smaller. And much larger than the kudu on the right would be the black rhino across the water to the left, between the dirt mound and the rock wall. They are incredibly large. They weigh about 3,000 pounds at their full growth. While they get so big, they can still get moving. They charge 35 miles per hour at their top speed. That's a lot faster than this truck can go, so we're going to keep moving. As we continue through the forest, I see some cinnamon orange color moving around towards the front left corner of the truck in between the bushes and trees. I think there are bongos out here. Yeah. Bongos are also known as the ghosts of the forest. They love to stay hidden away in the densely vegetated areas. Both male and female bongos will grow these back-swept
Oh,
horns.
come on, that's right in the.
Helps them get through the dense vegetation they call home.
See it there, your left Felicia.
I'm starting to think it might be time for us to head out of all this dense forest, though. We're gonna head out to the Santi River next. My favorite spot to go look for hippos. While hippos are so very large, they can be kind of hard to see. They're going to spend most of their day in the water so they don't get too hot in the African sun. Typically, we get much better hippo spottings just around the river bend if I head to the left. Better? It's a relative term when it comes to hippo spottings. They can stay completely under the water for about 8 minutes at a time before they need to come up for air. We'll take a look and see what we can find. Sure enough, out to the left between the island and the riverbank, there's a whole group of hippos known as a bloat. It's a bloat of hippos. They are considered nocturnal animals. They're going to spend most of their day just kind of sleeping in the water like this. They usually climb out of the river at nighttime when it's a little cooler to eat food. Each hippo eats between 80 and 90 pounds of grass a night. Up on top of the islands to the left, you're also going to see some big gray-white birds. There's a couple swimming around. These are pink-backed pelicans. They get the name because during mating season, their back starts to turn a light pink color. They blush. I'm a little bit more worried about the next animal. We're about to drive over a really rickety bridge. As we do, if you look out to the left, those are Nile crocodile, and they will snap the bones of their prey with their powerful jaws that have a crushing force of 2,000 pounds per square inch. They will even go after prey larger than themselves, like zebra and wildebeest. By larger, I mean bigger or taller, not necessarily longer. From the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, those crocodile average about 16 feet long. So we are headed away from those rivers, out towards a completely different ecosystem with completely different animals. We're gonna go head on out towards the savannah next. Speaking about different, coming up on the right, there's a view of a different kind of tree, known as the baobab. It's also known as the upside-down trees. You know which one it is. It's the one on the right that kind of looks like it's got its roots sticking up in the air.
Oh.
Yeah, those are not really roots. They are branches. Baobabs just go leafless about 9 months out of the year to conserve water. We should find some more of them out in the savannah, so we're going to keep driving around. As we drive around this corner, our first view of the savannah and the Serengeti grasslands. Already you might start seeing some animals. Towards the truck, coming up on the right-hand side of the road by the broken tree branches that are all piled up, the teeny tiny light tan animals with the white faces and undersides are not babies. These are springbok. That's as big as they get. They only reach about 3 feet tall. They weigh no more than 100 pounds. They'll jump 6 feet in the air repeatedly when frightened. They literally spring from place to place. It's kind of fun. They can also jump about 10 to 11.5 feet forward in a single bound. Pretty impressive, because when they jump, all 4 feet come off the ground at the same time. It's called pronking. It's kind of fun to watch, although it's a little rare to see on a safe place like our reserve. Now, coming up on the left, we're at the edge of the reserve. You might see some fences between the tall bushes. I recommend keeping an eye out. We've been hearing rumors of African wild dogs roaming around near the edge of our reserve. Also known as the painted dogs because of their coloring, and sure enough, there's a pack of the African wild dogs towards the front left of the truck by the cave. Now, these dogs are going to look a lot like domestic dogs that you might be used to because they're loosely related. They are a different offshoot of the canid family. And these dogs are the most successful hunters of mammals in Africa. They beat all of the large cats, hyenas, and other predators for the title. Because not only will they hunt as a pack, they'll chase their prey until their prey drops from exhaustion. It's kind of terrifying. We're headed away from the dogs. We'll hang out with the nice grass-eating animals like the sable antelope out to the left instead. Those are all girls that I can see from here. Boys' horns would get a little bit longer. They can reach a maximum length of up to 5 feet long. The boys also darken as they age. The dominant male would be so dark brown he'd look black in color. As we keep driving through here, on both sides of the road, you're going to be seeing these real tall reddish-brown mounds sticking out of the ground. These are all termite mounds. Might look like dirt. It's because they're partly made of dirt. They're also made using saliva and dung. The substance bakes in the hot African sun to form the structures. They're about as hard as concrete. The other animals are going to use them too. Elephants and giraffes use the taller mounds, kind of like a scratching post if they have an itch. At least until they manage to wear the mound down into a more hill shape, at which point antelope, like the sable antelope we were looking at, they'll sometimes climb up on top of the hill so they can see into the tall grasses to make sure there's no predators hiding nearby. It's an example of how the animals out here are kind of working together. But the giraffe towards the front left of the truck are tall enough that they don't really need a lookout post. There's a whole group of them coming up, going to be on the right-hand side of the road. The group of giraffe is quite appropriately known as a tower. It's a tower of giraffe. That is so appropriate because they start out pretty big. Baby giraffes stand about 6 feet tall when they're born. That means they can look into the eyes of any full-grown adult human. Or if you're short like me, baby giraffe would be looking right over our heads. They're going to spend about 16 to 20 hours a day eating or chewing. They spend most of their day chewing on stuff. Do the math, you'll notice it does not leave a lot of time left for sleep. Yeah, they don't sleep for long periods of time. They take really short naps throughout the day that all add up to about half an hour. That's it. It's a defensive mechanism. It keeps them on the move. Now, you might notice that a couple of the giraffe out to the right were sitting down. Their heads are a lot shorter than the rest of them. That's not a behavior you see very often with giraffe. They even sleep standing up. They only sit down like this when they're feeling incredibly safe and comfortable in their environment. Because it takes them a while to get up and down. It's something we like to see on our reserve because it means they're happy.
Wow.
This is going to bring us out to Monkey Point next. Monkey Point gets its name for a group of mandrills that have taken up residence at one of the abandoned camps on the left. Incredibly social amongst themselves. They're very, very shy to outsiders. But we're going to be looking for motion. If you see one, there's probably a couple more right nearby. Sure enough, towards the front left of the truck, in between the trees on the termite mound, there's a couple of them sitting out there. They are the largest of the monkey species. You can see that's not really saying much. Adult males would weigh about 100 pounds. Females, like her, max out at about 35 pounds at the most.
I am not
The babies are
seeing
just
anything.
kind of cute.
You see them over there?
You'd know if you saw the dominant male. He'd be much larger and would have the brightest red and blue markings, not only on his face, also on his backside. Lets the females know he's male, lets the males know he's the boss. Uh-oh. Usually I take the road to the right to get out into elephant country, but there's a big road closed sign. It looks like the road's gone, so I guess we're not going that way. There is an elephant out there, though. That's an adult male elephant. We know that for a couple of reasons. It's pretty big. Also, I don't see any others in the area. Adult males are the only ones that wander off on their own like this. Females stay in herds with the young ones. I'd still like to try and find a herd, so we're going to try this other road. It's looping around the same general direction I want. It's alright, you guys all wanted to have an adventure anyway. Found a bridge. Useful, but this bridge is looking kind of beat up, so we're gonna go very carefully. Holy-poly. Holy-poly means very slowly. It's to make sure that it holds us the whole way across.
It's real.
Feel free to cross your fingers and hold on tight. It sure is growing. To the right, you might get another view of that outlaw. Leave it right. All together, buddy. together. Let's find out where our detour is taking us off to, because I don't know about you, but I'm not going to go back over that bridge. It looks like we're heading into some red clay pits. I'm seeing some pretty good signs. See tussle marks, the clay on the sides of the truck. There's tracks leading out to the left. A few more elephants in the area, so I think we found elephant country again after all.
I grabbed the baby.
Unfortunately, biggest threats to the elephants are still people.
Wait, is there water
Still
underneath?
being hunted for their ivory tusks. They also face habitat loss due to mining going on out in the Congo. The miners are looking for an ore called coltan used in electronics like cell phones and laptops. So if you want to help out the elephants, the ones out to left, please feel free to recycle electronics when you're finished with them. That's going to reduce the need for the ores, helps the elephants keep their habitat. Now it looks like we have indeed found the outskirts of a herd.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you might see that elephant out to the left kind of flapping its ears back and forth. Now what looks like wrinkles in the ears are actually blood vessels. By flapping its ears like this, what it's doing is it's pushing wind across the blood vessels. It decreases its body temperature up to about 15 degrees. Some of the hot African days, wish I could do that. The elephants are not the only group of animals in the area. There's also a flamboyance coming up on the left. That's a group of flamingos. Do you see the gray ones on the skinny black legs? Those are baby flamingos. Yeah, they start out gray. Based off of size, I'm going to say they're like 2 or 3 months old. They get big pretty quick, but it's going to take a while before they turn pink. The reason they turn pink is because mostly they're eating tiny brine shrimp. Now, brine shrimp is high in something called beta-carotene. It's a pigment that turns the flamingos pink. These are all greater flamingos. It does make them the largest, and thus also the lightest pink of the flamingo species.
Sorry.
We're going to keep heading deeper into the savannah to see if we can find more animals to look at. I'm not seeing any in this particular area. I wonder. Ooh, way out to the right, down the dirt pathway under the trees, those are white rhino. Much, much larger than black rhino. White rhino weigh between 4,000 and 5,000 pounds at their full growth. A group of them is known as a crash. That's a crash of white rhino. I would like to get a little bit closer, so we're going to keep looping around. I think I know why they're keeping their distance. We're headed towards cheetah hunting territories. Now, cheetahs are daytime hunters. They are very, very hard to find. They blend in really well, so I recommend keeping a sharp eye out up on the grassy hills to the left. If anybody sees one, go ahead and shout out locations so everybody else knows where to look. Now, I am seeing some spots towards the front left corner of the truck. See the broken tree branches at the bottom of the hill? Above those, by that tree that's got that deep V shape to it at the top of the hill by the bushes in the shade. There's a tree stump up there. Just to the left of the tree stump, there's a pair of them out there.
Right there by the one right there. By the gate.
They have been causing a lot of trouble in Namibia hunting livestock. The farmers out there have been hunting the cheetah to protect their livestock. That is not a good solution. Cheetah are endangered. Our reserve supports training programs that train really large dogs called Anatolian Shepherds and Kangol dogs. The dogs will actually scare the cheetah away from the livestock without endangering the cat, saving their lives. I think it's kind of neat. It's a dog saving the cats out there. Of course, cheetah are a little strange for large cats. They're the only large cat known to purr. They've also been known to chirp. I think it's kind of interesting to hear a cat chirping. It's not all fluffy. They're also the only large cat to have non-retractable claws. Their claws stay out all the time. Towards the front right of the truck, looks like there's ostrich and zebra out there. Straight out to the right, there's more views of the white rhino and the zebra between the trees. We are going to loop around the hill to see if we can get a few closer views, but I've been told that in the area up ahead we might not be able to stop. So keep our fingers crossed, we'll see what's out there. Ahead of the truck, coming up on the left-hand side of the road, I see some large burrows in the ground. These are most likely warthog burrows. Warthogs are the largest of the burrowing mammals. If they were feeling threatened, they'd back into a burrow with their tusks facing outward. Like the one down in the ditch to the left. Now, you never ever disturb a warthog backed into a burrow. Their tusks are very sharp. They are not afraid to use them, so we're going to keep moving. Coming up on the right, you're going to get a few more views of those white rhino we were talking about. The ostrich out here as well. Those are birds. They've got wings. They do not fly. They run. Reach about 40 miles an hour. Towards the front right corner of the truck by the grasses by the tree line, those are ostrich eggs, largest of the bird eggs. Weigh about 3 pounds each. Biggest question I always get with the zebra. Black with white or white with black? The noses give it away. Nice black noses means they're black animals. White stripes, more black than white. And the shaggy coated animals to the right with the white circles around their backsides, those are waterbuck. They tend not to migrate too very far. They find a nice aquatic area, a place with lots of water. They just kind of hang out. Thus the name, waterbuck. But it looks like some open gates on the road to the left, so we're going to head through here to see if maybe we can find another animal or two before we have to head back out of the reserve. There should be another watering hole to the right, and there's some animals out there. There's some yellow-billed stork towards the front right of the truck. They're carnivores. They'll eat snakes, frogs, fish, rodents, birds, and pretty much any other meat that'll fit in their bill, they're going to go for. Which probably makes the antelope in the grasses pretty happy. They're not small enough. The antelope out to the right are scimitar, horned oryx, desert antelope. They can go about 10 months out of every year without drinking any water at all. That's not something I recommend for us. It's not ever going to work. The reason it works for them is they get most of the moisture they need to survive from foods they eat, like the grasses. They also have specialized kidneys to help them conserve the water they do drink. Unfortunately, though, this is going to bring us to the end of our safari. Time sure flies when you're having fun. I know I had a blast driving you all around through Africa. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves as well, because this does mean I do have to bring you back to the closest warden station to drop you off at. Don't worry. From there, it's a really short walk back to the Harambe village that you came through to get here. Or, if you're interested in some more up-close animal encounters, I highly recommend the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Nice, easy walking trail. You can even take strollers on if you have any strollers to pick up. Out there you find some more African animals. Sounds like we're pretty close to the village, so before I let you go, for any wilderness explorers, today you've been riding aboard the Simba 1. It's Simba, S-I-M-B-A, and the number 1. Once again, my name's Kristen. You don't need to know that for the wilderness explorers, but it's been my pleasure driving you all around. Shall I go there?